Yeah, so that is kind of a bigger question, and it's a really good question about all of this really detailed stuff that I'm suggesting we have to pay attention to, or the world will end. Or you will destroy your students.
Break them one by one.
You will break them, yeah. It partly, so I think that there's probably 2 or 3 things I would have to say about that. One of them is that it is partly in the tone of what we teach and not in what we actually say. And there's a way that I can say, put your elbow so-and-so in relationship to your wrist and imply that that is the end of it. If you get your elbow over your wrist, then it's done. And there's a way to say, find your elbow over your wrist so that you can connect to your fingertips, or so that you can da-da-da, and then not say any more, but you know that you're looking for a bigger picture than just that position in space. And my issue is with how often people feel like if they get the position in space, they have succeeded, when they might internally actually be really disorganized. Now, sometimes getting the position in space brings up the internal organization, right? But the slipping into feeling that we have succeeded because we have achieved a shape, but we haven't cultivated our internal awareness, to me is not, and I think, I'm guessing you would agree, is not really what we're going for in this kind of movement educating, right? And what it is to be what I think it is to be a teacher is to help people have their own experiences of themselves and to find ways for them to have these experiences. And so if the implication is that there is one way to do it and if you just do this then you're done, I think we are taking away from them the opportunity for them to learn something. So, and a lot of that is in, as specific as I am about wording, a whole lot of that is in the tone of things too, because I mean, I'll say, oh, don't say this, this implies this, and then I'll turn around and the next day in class, I will hear it coming out of my mouth. And sometimes I'm like, oh, but I mean this other thing by it, and this thing that we mean by it. And I hear it when I take people's classes. Like, I will hear one teacher say something, and I'll be like, I hate that instruction, it's so limiting. And I will hear another teacher say exactly the same thing. And what they've set up, and what they said before, and what they say after changes the meaning of that. So it's not only the thing we say, but the culture we're creating around it, that I think is a really big deal. And if there will be a moment when I'll just say, everybody back off from your hands, move behind your wrists. I do not put your shoulders over your wrists, just to make it not a possibility, right? And then go looking for this other thing. Or if, like this thing I keep saying about whatever we decide the asana is about, if I'm focusing on some experience in the spine, then it may be that the hands won't be helpful for that. It may be, of course, then that, you know, like Kim's experience of releasing her hand had repercussions all the way into her spine. So everything's connected to everything. But it may also be that I'll just get all the things in place so that we can have this experience in the spine. So it's a choice-making process, too. But I think the main part is the idea that we're holding about what the goal is. And there are those moments when something comes out of your mouth and you're like, oh, I don't want to say that. And then our challenge as teachers is to get more articulate about saying what we mean to say. And there's a way that I certainly get lazy and I just say what I'm used to saying until I realize it's not working, or I don't like it, or it's not, I don't actually think it's true anymore. And if I keep saying it after I've had that realization, then I am irresponsible. And it is my job as a teacher to find a different way to say it. Now, if I don't know any better and I'm doing my best, fine. But in the moment when I say something that I know I meant to rethink or to consider or to find another way, and I haven't, then I'm not doing my job as a teacher. What I think my job as a teacher is to do. And then it gets easier and easier to just not get yourself into situations where you have to say something you don't want to say. But it's a big, big picture question. The other piece of that question is if they're there and they really want to do it, and part of your job is to meet their needs, you have to weigh, are they hell-bent on doing weight bearing on their hands? And then how do you negotiate that, which is a whole nother, how do you meet their needs without doing what you think is dangerous? How do you get them to think they're getting what they want when you're actually giving them something that will help them get what they want, but they don't know they want it maybe, or, yeah. Yeah. It's a big, teaching, big question.